Welcome, folks, to another episode of Do We Have Heat, the pro wrestling debate show where me and a co-host debate two topics of professional wrestling, see who is better. It's pretty straightforward, not a difficult show to understand, which is perfect for pro wrestling fans like you and myself. Hi, I'm your host. My name is Michael, with my co-host here,
Steven.
Today we are going to have, just because WCW, it's in the air right now, you know, with the Vice documentaries of the...
Who won a live WCW?
Yeah, Who on a live WCW? Because you have to say that now. Why does Vice get to say? Why does you? I want to make that determination.
Because they're not on TikTok, Michael.
Oh, that's fair.
If we weren't streaming to TikTok, we could use words however we wanted.
Well, yeah.
Well, most of them.
That's true. Try to get comfortable on this couch real quick. I'm just a little uncomfortable. That's okay.
You're gonna knock down the green screen and ruin the movie magic, buddy.
No, I know. I'm sorry. Anyways, what we got going on today is we got our pro wrestling debate, the world famous G-Generation X versus the
also equally famous New World Order, the NWO.
Listen, I know you want to say that the NWO,
the Hogan and Nash Power Hour.
Yes, and we'll get to that. But I want to start with two things. First, I want to start with one thing right off the top.
Why did DX have blackface?
We're gonna get to that. We'll get to that.
Answer the question, Michael.
Because Vince McMahon is a horrible shell of a human being and a disgusting individual.
All right, good. I'll accept that answer for now, but not later.
Yeah, we'll talk. We can talk more about that. But before we get into really bashing the two titans, I would say two of the biggest factions of all time, I really just want to put over the fact...
I would say the two biggest factions,
Easily.
if we're being honest.
Easily.
If we're being realistic here.
Of all time. There's no one even closer. I know.
Maybe the Four Horsemen.
I knew you were going to say that, you southern piece of country fried steak, you bastard. No, there's no way. Look, these are the best two. I understand.
What about Rock and Sock Connection, dude?
That's not a faction, it's tag team.
What about Main Event Mafia?
I mean...
What about Aces and Eights?
Dude, yeah.
They were good factions until, like every wrestling faction, they were good until they weren't, and it was very swift.
Yeah, to that one. Yeah, they weren't. Just like these two. And the thing that these two have in common is I just want to say, like, what they've put out into the world, whether it's the Too Sweet hand gesture or the world famous Suck It, like those are two iconic, like, taunts? No, they're like the taunts of wrestling. Like
they're the taunts of the generations. You got DX, which is your Gen X guys, and then you got the NWO, which is Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall.
Yeah, I mean they definitely were there. Yeah. We're selling to that camera there, babe. Yo, but I don't think... Look,
I was told not to look directly at the camera, man.
Yes, you can.
I can do that.
You can look at the camera.
It's the camera. Chad, is this real?
Yes, it's real. It's real life. Look, I think just looking at the signs, right? The DX crotch chop is so good that they suspend kids from school for doing it.
They do.
Yeah, Too Sweet Me. Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, there we go. You just did that without. Yeah, exactly.
I can't resist.
Exactly.
I'm a white guy. You could have given me a high five and I would have done it. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Okay. If it's not okay, then I guess they're both not fair because people are getting suspended over one of them.
Yeah, but no, but that's why it's better. It's better because it's cooler and everything. Everybody knows if it's edgier, it's cooler, and there's nothing edgier than DX. They were a staple of the time. They were the it guys of the 90s. I mean, they did all the...
they were the it guys of the early 2000s.
Yes. Wow. Longevity. Where was your organization in the mid-2000s? Oh, yeah. Bankrupt. NWO ain't got anything on D-Generation X. I mean, for one, DX is now running WWE. What's Hulk Hogan running? Beach Shop in Tampa. Yeah. What's Kevin Nash doing? Kevin Nash is getting zooted on Vice Television telling old WCW stories. Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they have work on Mondays and Tuesdays. Interesting.
They actually have work on like Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, but no.
I don't think Shawn works. Shawn works Thursdays only, right? Or Tuesdays only, NXT.
Yeah, he works NXT, but like I would assume Triple H works, least 2 days of the week.
I want to start my argument
Which
against.
is less than Hogan worked when he was
It's
active.
true. I want to start my look. I want to start.
Hogan wrestled 455 days out of the year.
Credit where credit is due. Credit where
I
credit.
don't know if that's how many years we're actually in a year, how many days are in a year, but
Hulk Hogan wrestled all the days, baby. That's
Every
why he had all
single
those
one.
merch sales, ticket sales. Look, credit where credit is due. The NWO
his
helped.
daughter has a hit song.
She does, yeah, that's true. Oh God, don't bring up Brooke Hogan. It's not advantageous for you at all. Yo, but credit where credit was due. The NWO definitely did something or had hands, right? I would say large part. I don't want to diminish the NWO.
They were the Warriors of wrestling, like the movie The Warriors.
I mean, yeah, when they eventually got everybody at the park and like.
Yeah, they were like everyone
NWO
is
had
here.
NWO had 2 less people than that Warriors scene in it.
There
was like
there's
2
a
less.
lot of members of the NWO.
I'm pretty sure
I can't name all of them.
the baseball Furies were definitely in the NWO at the end.
Probably, but the NWO DX just did what the NWO did a few years later. They did the same thing. They brought in like adult. Adult audiences. They made wrestling like it's not for kids.
Yeah.
It made it like not something that's like, oh, you gotta, you can watch with the family and stuff. It's like, oh, hey, this is for our 15 to 25 crowd.
Yeah.
And that's what the NWO brought in. And DX did the exact same thing, down to even having an invasion angle.
I mean, I agree.
They did the invasion
right.
angle after the invasion angle.
And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, right? I want to put over the NWO for a minute, right? I got the NWO's page pulled up here. There's one thing that the NWO has done that will never, ever be replicated again, and they had a hand in beating the WWE in the ratings war for 83 weeks, and Eric Bischoff has, lived on that for his entire life since then.
What's his name of his podcast?
83 weeks.
83 weeks.
83 weeks. Eric Bischoff. Do you think he has to have number 83 tattooed in a very sensitive area on his body?
I
right?
mean, I would assume that he has 83 on his calf or something.
Yeah, no, there's no.
You have to have Eric Bischoff will never watch this, but
no. Eric Bischoff. No. Eric Bischoff, friend of the podcast.
If Eric Bischoff watches this, do you have an 83 tattoo, dude?
Yeah.
We need to know. We need to know if you have 83 tattooed somewhere on your body.
Eric Bischoff, and we know you're watching. Someone's talking about you. Do you have an 83 weeks tattoo? Let us know in the comments.
We'll have to put in the SEO at Eric Bischoff so it shows up on his RSS feed. And,
RSS feed, he's that old too.
Listen,
people don't even know what that is. The chat's like, what's RSS feed?
If you're 30, if you're 30 or older, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Dude, they're crazy. But I want to talk about their very humble beginnings, let's say. I want to say that NWO has the much better origin story, right? NWO is very the lines that they blurred at the time, right? We talked about this earlier off camera. Will never happen again because how in tuned everyone is with the dirt sheets and everything of that nature. But when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall showed up on WCW television, people were like,
they're supposed to be in the WWE.
Yeah.
WF.
And that was insane. That's crazy. I remember watching it, and I just remember, I didn't know exactly who Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were, but I do remember the NWO.
Did you know why they were there?
That's true. You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Dude, yeah.
You know what? Maybe both of our groups were a little racially insensitive because
Scott Hall is white.
Scott Hall is not a Cuban man.
He's not Cuban.
He's not Cuban.
It's true.
It's not even a good Cuban accent either.
You know the Scott Hall story, right? He just started doing lines from Scarface, and Vince was like, "That's really good. You should do that."
Your character, dude.
And he was like, "Did you see Scarface?" And Vince was like, You should go and do that," which is so funny to me because
Vince was like,
"Yeah,
be this illicit substance man."
Yeah, but we're not
going to mention that part of it.
We're not going to mention
it. It's like The Godfather. He's definitely a man of the night,
dude.
but we're not gonna say that he is.
He was so coke coated. It's like his name was Razor Ramon. He
Yeah,
carried the razor blade chain on his neck.
It was the razor's edge.
Dude, he had the little, like, just
The
little
toothpick?
line, the little lines. Yeah, the toothpick, because he's always noshing on something. Dude, that's so funny. And I wonder, like, there was like the whole story that, like, Key. Do you remember? What was his name?
Low-key?
No, his name was just Key, like short for Kilo back in the day, and he wore all white. And he? Hold on.
Did you just say the name I said, but in reverse?
No. Kilo. Not. No, that's funny.
I just said low-key, and you're like, no, Kilo. Come on, man. Come on, dog.
Keep it going. I'm looking it up.
All right, listen. Your logo,
Oh, it's Vic Grimes. That's who it was. It was Vic Grimes. Hold on.
Victor Grimes.
Hold on. We all remember Vic Grimes, don't we? Let's see. Vic Grimes here. He went by. Where is he at? He went by Key for a bit. I just saw it.
Key, Key, right there on Raw, July 26, 1999, episode of Raw is Key. He portrayed an illicit substance dealing character along with draws and
Prince Albert feuded with the Godfather. Wow, Godfather's back again. Godfather's around a lot, dude. Godfather suffered an injury as the feud between the two developed.
and all of his gardening tools.
And Al Snow was there too. Wow, talk about like a shotgun Saturday night feud. This one's got it all. It's got Al Snow, draws, Prince Albert, and Vic Grimes as a drug dealer, dude. Okay. Anyways, sorry. I like
Back to the argument.
Yeah, no, I like taking a little stroll. No, you're cool. You were gonna mention something about my logo that is like of the era,
It's
very
just
spray painted.
Spray painted on. Mine's designed by Disney MGM.
Disney? Did some
Disney
Imagineer
World.
come up with this?
Some
That doesn't work for me, brother.
it's funny because he's from Florida. He's a Florida
dude.
boy, dude.
Oh yeah, he is. Mickey is a Florida boy. That's true.
I meant Hogan.
Yeah. No, Mickey too.
There's two things.
I'm gonna kick out a Sting's finish. So okay. Anyways,
I have creative control.
don't mess with
Who
the
would do
mouse,
that?
brother.
Who would do that? Who would do that?
Yeah, that's mean. No, so yeah, Disney. So Disney made your. That's interesting. I mean, it's good, right? I will be honest. If we're dead serious, top
It's the best.
top three pro wrestling T-shirt of all time. Speaking of which, I really like your pro wrestling T-shirt right here as well.
You can't get it anymore. It's not even a pro wrestling T-shirt.
Yeah.
But you touched on something there
What?
about the logo being top three.
It is.
I'd say it is top two. I think there's only one other wrestling shirt that you could say is more
On the count of three, we say it. One, two, three. Austin 316. Did we just become best friends? Yeah. Yeah. Dude, there's no. Yeah. I'm
There's no real. It's probably the 316 shirt and then the NWO shirt.
Isn't it weird? Like
They're still making both of those. Like the original designs are still active production. They're timeless T-shirts. They're the only wrestling shirts you can really wear out in public, and it not be seen as like, oh, you're a wrestling fan.
Can I?
And more of like, oh,
I want to.
you watch the 90s.
Question for you: as big as like these two companies or these two factions were, right? NWO, DX. Surprisingly, at these vintage shops, there's that one vintage shop in town that we've been to several
The
times.
Kidman shirt.
Yeah. We found, the Billy Kidman shirt. We found the old, also the WCW Backstage Assault t-shirt that was $350 because it fits the market for a wrestling t-shirt and bad video game t-shirt.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was insane. Anyways, why don't we see more NWO shirts? One second, I gotta check this camera too. We should see more NWO shirts. In
the wild. I mean,
why don't we? Did everyone just wear them?
well, no. I have a genuine response to that.
Yeah.
They got replaced by Bullet Club shirts.
That's true. But I would love
Because if we take a look at it, like that's just millennial NWO.
for
like
sure.
that, like, and that's just
for
the
sure.
30-year. The people that were wearing NWO shirts now are in their 50s, 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that were wearing Bullet Club shirts 9-10 years ago are in their 30s now. Like, that's just kind of where the times led.
Yeah.
The Steve Austin shirt's eternal, though.
Yeah,
That shirt's eternal.
Oh, what's a used Austin 316 shirt go for? I'm sure it's ugly. I'm sure it's a ton of money.
Yeah, for like an
original, I'm sure it's a lot.
316 shirt. It's
on one of our episodes for you, Mark, with the Pro Wrestling Game
once we
Show.
get that Patreon running, we're fine.
Yeah,
we'll be like,
no, I found on our episode of You, Mark, we did a mini game called In This Economy, where we did Price is Right rules on different wrestling memorabilia. One of them was a Dudley Boys shirt, 2XL. Dudley Boys tie-dye, the original, you know what I'm talking about, the tie-dye
$550.
No, it's $800.
I wasn't too far off, though.
Dude.
Like, that's within the realm.
Yeah, crazy.
Like, once you get over $500 for a T-shirt,
yeah,
like, you're not wearing that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, unless you're, trying to make an ensemble and you're a musician or something and can afford to just burn $800 on a T-shirt.
I got the Wikipedia page here pulled up for the NWO, and I want to highlight something here.
The other members?
No, not necessarily that.
There's
There's
so
all
many
these
of-
different factions here of NWO.
There are.
But
There's
check
an NW. Why is there an India? Hold up.
That's what I want to figure
Can
out.
you find out that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Google
that's the
NWO Go Gundam for me. Here.
Yeah, that's what I want to figure out. There's an NW. Oh my God, Apple, get out of my face, dude.
We should have bought Adele.
Should have bought Adele, dude. Compact Presario, reach out, looking for sponsorship.
Gateway, please. Send us some stuff.
Gateway, yo, Cowbox, baby. All right, what do we got? This is weird.
Did someone just add something?
Yeah, did somebody just try to get me? Is that what this was? Where
Are we getting got?
Yeah, I think we got. Oh. What is? Yeah, dude. Somebody in the comments who's smarter than us, tell us. What
As a wrestling fan and a
the
Gundam
hell?
fan,
Yeah, right. You would.
I feel like I should have known about
Right.
this.
You should have definitely.
I would have known that this existed.
Yeah. You and Gundams. You should have figured out like Megazord was part of the NWO.
Yeah, like
or
I would
whatever.
have known that immediately. I would have known that before this video.
Dude, NWO. Like,
I know enough
Too
of the
sweet me, big robot, bro.
Listen,
Dude, that's awesome.
Keep scrolling down. Maybe the page will say something.
I don't
about
know. I wouldn't worry too much about it. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But now
Figure it
I'm
out. But let's
interested.
Let's talk about NWO for a second here. Back when they started out, this was here's your stuff about the Disney MGM. That's pretty cool. 16 examples. Turner Management settled on the logo. Scott Hall. Scott Hall is credited with the group's trademark hand signal.
He started
shout
the Too
out.
Sweet, dude.
Yo, R.I.P. Scott Hall. Too sweet me. Yeah, that's awesome. So, anyways, I want to talk about the beginning of the NWO, which it was stole. Look, I know you said like DX only took the stuff from the NWO, but NWO did take the stuff from another place called New Japan, and much like other wrestling programming on TNT and TBS, all the good stuff comes from Japan. So what do you have to say for yourself? That you're just stealing NJPW guys and just doing what Tony Khan does as well.
You simp for AEW so hard you can't make this argument.
Oh, I do.
Next.
No, man, you're just stealing from NJPW, and if it's one thing I know the internet hates is when people get stolen from New Japan. Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles.
I feel like that's how they're being used versus them being stolen.
That's right.
Also, why are you talking about people like pieces of property, dude?
Whoa,
That's wild.
whoa,
yeah.
property.
Hey, yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
But I want to talk about look, the NWO when Hogan came in, it was hot. When Hogan came in, that's
the hottest thing in wrestling.
Dude, it was absolutely.
It's still, I think, the biggest thing in wrestling ever. Like, genuinely, Hogan turning heel is that and Austin turning heel are probably the two.
Dude, Austin turning heel is dog crap compared to Hogan.
No, but I meant like in terms of signaling an era.
Yeah.
Like because
into the tip. Why don't you talk to the tip?
Because for Austin, it was signaling the end of the Attitude Era.
Sure.
And then for Hogan, it's signaling the end of basically the golden age of wrestling.
Yeah.
That's gone now. Golden age is gone. There's no Hulkamania.
Say your prayers.
Say your prayers. Eat your vegetables.
What
obey your parents.
Talk about like the biggest liar in history. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins, and you'll be strong as the Hulk. No, bro. 20 cc's of the anabolic, Trimbolone, anabolic diabolic steroid use. Like
a lot of gas.
Yeah, and just like say your prayers, like Hulkster. It wasn't the probably crazy workout routine or anything like that, but it was cool, right? I will give credit where credit is due of the NWO. It was really cool to see a turn from an eternal babyface like that of Hulk Hogan to like see people throw trash at him. I vividly remember, because I was a WCW kid, because the Brood scared me. I've talked about it many times on this channel. But
he's also afraid of the movie Twilight.
Yeah, dude, they're sparkly. They shouldn't be. What are you talking about? No, but it was crazy because Hulk Hogan, I'd never seen people do that. And I watched WWE as well, but just not a ton of it, right? Not as much.
You were 7.
Look,
you had nothing else to do with your time.
Well, yes, but you remember back on the day, you had the flashback button. You could just like hit the channels.
Did you have a bedtime?
I had a television in my room.
So yeah, you could have.
So I was under the covers.
Just slacking. Like all of us in the 2008 recession. Instead of being in high school, we should have been buying a house.
Yeah, I should have. Yeah, I really should have. I should have been my grind set. But I was scared of Edge.
Your mindset dictates your grind set, dude.
Anyways, I would flip over. I was WCW primary and flip over and watch WWF. But it was interesting because I'd never seen people get that kind of reaction on WWF. No matter what they did, people did not throw trash in the ring. But in WCW, like I thought that was so cool because I was like, these people are so mad. They're like throwing stuff at these guys. Like I thought wrestling was real because of WCW. I also thought those vampires were real, but
it was real to you, damn it.
That's right. But Hulk Hogan coming in, doing what he did, dropping the leg, and like cementing himself as a bad guy for the first time is very cool stuff. Like
he should have just gone by Terry Bollea at that point too. Just really driven it home.
Yeah, the Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan's dead. It's Terry Bollea all the way down now, baby.
Sure. And just like Eric Bischoff, after those 83 weeks were up, what happened to the NWO after that, man?
Well, like all good wrestling groups, it was good until it wasn't, and it wasn't all at once.
Yeah. How many people did the NWO actually have? I mean,
realistically, I think it was. Are we talking about in total that have been in the NWO, or at one time in the NWO?
I mean, like, let's just say who's in the. Let's get a list.
We're not doing NWO for life here. We're saying how many people were actively in it at one time.
This actually looks pretty good. Hold on, let me.
Oh, this is actually
This looks good. This looks decent.
Thanks, charactersdatabase.com.
Shout out charactersdatabase.com for all.
Send us a sponsorship
for all your NWO necessary needs here. The original
and other characters.
Original state, yeah, original stable. Scott Hall, Nash, Hogan, cool.
Ted DiBiase and the Giant.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase was like the secret benefactor of the time. The Giant was a weird hire, but then was he Andre's son at this point?
Yes, it was heavily implied that he's the Giant. He was billed as the Giant.
Okay.
Yeah, he was billed as the Giant still here.
That's cool.
So he was billed as the son of Andre.
Yeah. You think?
But he was also like way more athletic than Andre was ever in the ring at this point. This was the best shape that man was ever in his life.
Dude, remember he smoked a cigarette in the ring?
Yeah. And it looked cool. He made smoking look cool.
He did. It's not cool, kids. Don't do it.
Don't smoke. But pro wrestlers made smoking look cool.
Yo,
they were the only people that did.
You think Ted DiBiase was stealing from churches at this time, or was he just hatching that plan?
I think he was stealing from TBS, and they were probably paying way too much money for Ted DiBiase.
Yo, thank you for the reminder here. Characters, database, imposter sting. Remember, they had
fake Sting.
They had a fake Sting. How do you square that? Like, dude.
Okay, so the way I square it is in like there's AEW responds to storylines that WWE does and vice versa with, not real overt stuff like imposter Sting, but during this period of WWE's television, they had fake Razor Ramon, they had fake Diesel, they had Gilbert, like,
oh hell yeah, I get it.
So just at a certain point, they're making fun of WCW guys, and WCW's like, we'll do a serious imposter angle.
And they're like, we'll show you how to
Was
do
it the best thing ever? Nah, but it showed that they were willing to respond to it in a way that said, hey, we're going to do what you're doing, but we're going to do it better and with our own guys.
Yeah, apparently fake Sting was played by Jeff Farmer. Shout out Jeff Farmer. Shout out Soybean Farmer. Shout out
Farmers Insurance.
Shout out Farmers Almanac.
Shout out Farmers Only.
Shout out farming in general. Shout out Farming Simulator.
Shout out Minecraft.
What? It's not farming. Oh shit, you're farming for materials. Oh, shout out farming for materials.
Shout out MMOs.
Yeah, shout out farming just as a mechanic.
All right, we got 6.
Yeah, 6. That's fine. He was in both of them.
X-Pac.
Dude, X-Pac, 1, 2, 3
X-Pac.
kid. What a man. Hey, they also used they used a newer picture of X-Pac. Oh yeah, Vincent. Get
Virgil.
that meat sauce, baby. Miss Elizabeth, R.I.P. She was in there.
Bischoff was in the NWO at
This
one
was
point.
in 1996 too. Look,
Yes.
the Nasty Boys were in 96. Bischoff.
Everyone joined in 96.
Michael Walsh.
Buff Bagwell.
Michael Walsh. That's IRS, right?
Yeah.
Dude, IRS and Michael Wall Street. Michael Wall Street's a much cooler name.
I'm going to be real honest. Both of them are good names, though. Like, the whole IRS out, it's like Irvin Schuster.
Erwin R. Shyster, yeah.
R&R Shyster. That's a good wrestling name, too. And then to have I as IRS, that's a winner, though, because he looks like the Wolf of Wall Street guy.
Yeah, he does look like Jordan Belfort a little bit. Scott Norton, Bubba Rogers.
Wait, who else was up there, too?
That was it. It
Scott
was
Norton.
Scott Norton and Bubba Rogers right there. Scott Norton, he wrestled in Pyongyang. Anyways, so yeah, you guys got a ton of people here.
With 1 million people watching.
Yeah, you have...
That's still the biggest wrestling crowd in the history of wrestling, which is weird.
That's Pyongyang.
Yeah, it's North Korea.
Dude, Great Muda.
Tenzin. I think this was JWO, I think.
Oh, well, no.
Where they were doing
made a few appearances. Oh,
but they were in New World. They were in like Japan World Order. So they were like in the New Japan faction of NWO, which eventually I guess just ended up morphing into.
But look, you guys got so many.
Everyone.
And you got a referee. You forgot about Nick Patrick. Look at him. Dude, tell me a guy didn't look like Kenny Powers, right? Freaking Eastbound and Down. Eastbound and Down, brother. That's who Kenny Powers was. No, you guys have too many members. You had too many members from the beginning. And that was the thing. I think Eric Bischoff the idea was to take the NWO and make them their own show. Remember, they gave them their own pay-per-view. And, I understand.
Sold out.
Yeah, one of them was here in Louisville. I went for my birthday as a kid. But you all wanted so much. And that's the thing. NWO did not stay in their lane. And that's what happened. NWO just got so big and so convoluted. And then you
couldn't have a single storyline.
What?
I mean, it was so big. There were multiple storylines for all the different members.
Yeah. Yeah.
But some of them not even doing anything.
Yeah. NWO had the problem of do you know a guy? It's kind of like the Wu-Tang Clan. Do you know somebody in the Wu-Tang Clan? I do know somebody in the Wu-Tang Clan. You're in the Wu-Tang Clan.
You are a Wu-Tang affiliate.
Welcome. And it's
did you produce something? Did you make a beat or, hit a drum cymbal? You're an affiliate.
You're selling here. Some of these people are on this list. And it just feels like they ate next to Hulk Hogan and he left a shirt on a chair and they're
you're part of the NWO now, brother.
Hell yeah, that was for me, bro. But
when you're NWO, you're NWO for life.
Right. But look at this. Look at all of these. I gotta go through all these real quick. You have so many members, but so many members. Not only that, it's look at the team names. You have the New World Order, the NWO, which is fine. You had NWO Hollywood, the NWO Black and White, NWO Wolfpack, Red and Black, NWO Elite. Did that include Matt and Nick? Anyways.
I feel like that was one from WWE.
Is it? Okay.
I feel like that's one of the revival.
But the NWO B team, they knew what they were at a point. And okay, that's
literally the NWO Job Squad. They're the ones that are eating the pins.
And I can say I appreciate knowing and having self-awareness and say the B team. Yes. Okay, that's fine. Good. But the NWO got so big that they had a job squad of themselves. Basically, they were their own roster. They had their own Japanese section. They had their own Hispanic section. They had their own
The LWO,
the loser section.
the JWO.
Dude, it's insane. But what I'm thinking is that regardless, right? The NWO,
NWO 2000.
NWO 2000, Double Dare, everything was 2000. Double Dare
NWO
2000.
2K.
That'd have been cooler. They should have called it NWO 2K. That'd have been really cool. But no, man, the NWO is a cool faction, but let's be honest, they ultimately destroyed WWE's greatest rival, WCW, and then plunged WWF into the worst storylines for 10 years. 12. Basically, the Ruthless Aggression era through the 2020 era was not the best portion of pro wrestling.
No,
ever.
I would say the Ruthless Aggression era up until 2008 was fine. It was good. I would say from 2001, it wasn't as good as the years before, but it was still pretty good. But once it hit 2009 to like 2017, 2018, it was
rough.
It was bad. It was because it was the only wrestling company on television.
Yeah. And
it's weird how those years lined up to other events, and it getting good.
Then
and then started getting good after. I wonder what it caused that.
Something like 2018.
It's like a company died, and then there was just like 20 years of
no competition,
of like mediocre wrestling. Because the Ruthless Aggression, they were riding on that wave of their Attitude Era. They can still do some.
Still a WCW. You had ECW WWE version.
Yeah, their one night stand was during Ruthless Aggression. We're good. So they still had that kind of like edgy content that they were putting out there.
Yeah.
And then they really hit the PG era where it was like, hey guys,
John Cena is here to sell you
We're
cereal.
not marketing to like the 14 to 19-year-old crowd anymore. We're marketing to that the 7 to 12-year-old category now.
Yeah.
We're going to sell lunchboxes again, baby. And it just turned into the WWF of the 80s. It literally that period, it just so what happened is they had that period of real edgy content, WWE did, and then they just went back after WCW died. They went edgy content with the Attitude Era to try and kill WCW, and then they just went back to the stuff they were doing in 91, 92, white meat babyface, Super Cena, Hulkamania type stuff.
And that's what I'm talking about. That was, and now the widely considered not some of the best times, but you know what was considered some of the best times in. What are you doing? Oh, I thought you were showing off the back. I was like,
no. I was just trying to
pop your bag. Yo, but you know what was really good times?
No, I can't expose the fact that it has green on it.
It's funny. We'll show them. You stay to the end. We'll show you the back of the shirt. It's really funny. Anyways, what was a really good time in pro wrestling was the Attitude Era. And you know who was a staple in the Attitude Era? Generation X, filled with just a handful of members. This is a respectable number of people. You got Shawn Michaels, Triple H, X-Pac, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn. And you know what? If you want to throw Rick Rude in there as well, because he was there at the beginning. Only man ever to be on Nitro and Raw on the same night. A little fun fact for you.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. And you got China too. Why isn't China on the China's on there too.
China.
Shout out to China for all the early bisexual wrestling fans who found something to look for the rest of their life. That muscle mommy that everyone is still trying to attain. And it's really funny to watch. Like, look at like how people talked about China back in the day. They were like, she's got a, and people were like, China's a man. Blah, blah, blah. That was like the banter back then. And now we look at a woman like Rhea.
China's hot.
Now we look back and we're like, oh man, we should have realized what we had. And
we should have treated her better then.
I treat you better, girl. I treat you better now. No, it's the same thing. It's the same like thirst traps. And it's funny because like now we have Rhea Ripley and everyone's real thirsty for Rhea, and it's like she's not the original. She's the blue. She's the copy, man. She's the copy. Remember when China?
No. I'm the upgrade,
dude. Remember when China used to come out with the rocket launcher? That was the
Tank Girl reference,
dude. This is the coolest thing. And you know why it was the coolest thing? Because she's part of the coolest faction, the best faction in all of pro wrestling in the 90s. That's D-Generation X. D-Generation X. Look, for the millions at watching, for the thousands in attendance, and the millions watching at home, DX proudly presents to you.
Blackface.
Yes, they did do that. Look, all right. Look, for those who
Them and Roddy Piper.
keep that here. Keep talking. Tell me about. Tell me about what. Tell me about.
They did really bad white person. I'm gonna dress up as a black person makeup. It's not good. It's not good. It's really bad. It is.
For those who have not seen it, those who might be unaware. That's that's Triple H there as The Rock. Road Dogg is D'Lo Brown. You can see because he's got the body armor on. And in the very back here is X-Pac.
It's not good.
It's not good. It's not good at all.
Hey, I'm gonna reference a little hip hop thing for you.
Yeah.
Back in 2018, the rapper Pusha T released a diss track called "The Story of Adidon," and it had the rapper Drake in blackface on the cover. And
Drake was in blackface?
Yes. And really, that's all you. It's not defensible.
Isn't
and it's like real blackface. It's like the red lips, love blackface. Not I've painted myself blackface. Both are bad. One is, but regardless,
I can't.
That's the entire argument.
I can't defend it. It's bad. It's horrible.
At least I don't have any indefensible moments for the NWO whatsoever, and they never did anything controversial during their entire run. And I'm sure that'll just not get pulled up at some point.
Sure, and that's the kind of the thing I wanted to talk about was DX under the probably direction, I'll assume, of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, a twisted individual.
I'm gonna be honest. Sean Waltman looked way too happy in that face paint.
Sean Waltman did look at home, and I am worried about that.
He looked way too happy to be doing that. That's all I'm gonna say. Looked like he was having way too much fun there. It didn't look like he was being forced.
It is.
I'm not saying that X-Pac is racist.
I'm not.
I'm just saying.
I don't think
it was 1999, and everyone probably thought it was really funny then.
So we were watching a video earlier, kind of just going over like D-Generation X and a little bit behind the curtain. And the guy said, well, the reason they did it was because of South Park, and I was like,
that's
a jump, my friend.
You can't
just because like there's some foul mouth animated 13-year-olds doesn't mean you could just do that. You know what I mean? The blackface thing was terrible. But what I'm trying to get to is that DX, they have the whole they have a good T-shirt, great entrance, the music's good, and they
were taken to court by Hornswoggle.
They were taking it. That's later DX. We'll get to the later DX stuff. I want to talk about cool DX.
You don't want to talk about Dad DX?
Yeah, talking about Dad DX is actually
Dad Rock DX.
It is devastating for my argument.
It is. It takes your argument and cuts it out at the knees because at least the NWO died with dignity. At least the original incarnation died with dignity, and then it was dug back up by the WWE to parade around after they bought the company.
That sounds very familiar to another DX. It sounds very familiar to DX. No, but I tell you what, back in the day when they were like feuding with Sergeant Slaughter, Sean and Hunter,
the G.I. Joe guy.
Yeah, the G.I. Joe guy.
Okay.
Yeah, they made him a
real... Is that Jesse Ventura?
No, they made him a real guy.
That's both of them actually. Yeah. They were both in. That's weird. I
don't think Sergeant Slaughter was actually a military guy, was he?
No, he was never actually.
He wasn't in the military.
No, I listen. Look it up. Make sure. I don't want to disrespect him if he's a veteran on that end.
Yeah, you would. I mean, talk about getting canceled.
I'll get BoJack Horseman. Oh no,
I don't know that show. Sorry.
Neil Bill, the Navy SEAL.
I never watched
an episode of BoJack where he grabs some strawberries before a veteran. And then he gets in trouble for saying he doesn't deserve the strawberries just because he's a veteran.
Uh-oh.
And everyone disagrees.
Oh, that's funny. Sergeant Slaughter, Rudolph. His name is Robert Rudolph Remus. He was a voice actor and retired. Let's see. Did he actually do any military? They usually say it on the side here. Right?
typically,
Here we go. It would say in his early life, born in Michigan, Minnesota. They both grew. Him and Jesse.
I guess he just wrestled and played football.
Yeah, dude. I don't think he actually. Okay. Stolen Valor, Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh,
Wow,
man,
Stolen
that's just-
Valor. Stolen Valor, Sergeant Slaughter. He was trained by Vern Gagne. That's
Listen,
cool.
he was in GI Joe. That counts.
Yeah. And
That's a military operation in my book.
did you knew he
They
was
stopped Cobra Commander for destroying the world so many times.
you knew he was in GI Joe, and knowing's half the battle. GI Joe. Anyways, yeah,
We're too
dude.
young for that show.
Yo, D-Generation X ruled during the 90s. They were exactly like people want to say like WWE right now is a little they're coming further with like trying to market towards teenagers and stuff of that nature, but like it's been kind of childish, as you kind of alluded to, for a long time. But when DX was around in the early 90s, like this was playing.
I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Yeah, dude, it was. They got like
Then when I got
complaints.
older, it was bad, and then I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to watch wrestling because I wasn't allowed to, and then it was bad.
Dude, I remember when DX threw Mankind and Terry Funk off the stage, Chainsaw Charlie, in the trash can. Cool moment. DX has some really, really cool moments, man. And I think DX, because look, the way I see it, DX was super popular at the time. Granted, at the same time, NWO was very hot. But NWO has also had like a bunch of misses. And I will say, looking back at the lens of history, DX has had some misses, some very big
have they
misses.
ever?
But they will. But I mean, look, it's not an excuse at all. It was very of the time, right? That's what people did. It's not a good thing, and it is what people did, and they shouldn't have done it. And at the time, though, it was over. It was really over. I mean, Triple H became.
That's the thing I don't get about canceling, because if people were going to be canceled, none of those people would have jobs right now.
That's true.
They wouldn't have jobs right now
But then again,
at all.
right?
It's
But
fake.
you have to look at they're playing characters.
Canceling, like wrestling, is predetermined.
Stop it! You're stupid.
It is. No, think about it. The ending of wrestling is predetermined in the same way that someone saying that they're getting canceled is predetermined to get the money from grifters.
Yeah, being canceled is faker than wrestling.
It really is. Every single person that's like, I've been canceled, has somehow become richer.
What do you mean? What do you mean the consequences of my own
The
action?
consequences of making a couple million more dollars
They're
from
stupid.
people in the South of a certain color.
Look, I know. Yeah, right. Joe Rogan. Anyway.
Yeah, now like
Yeah, you got to turn. They're turning into it.
Unfortunately,
Got to sell those vitamins, babe.
I miss when he talked about weed and DMT, man.
Well, we're on the internet. You can't talk about those things either. Joe Rogan. We're not Joe Rogan or Vice. You can't do either one of them.
Rogan?
Joe Rogan's.
Rest in peace, Joe Rogan.
But let's be honest, man. I will say, both factions have their lower points. I will say, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn were very entertaining with their intros. I wouldn't say I've ever seen one of their matches that I've been blown away. Now, Billy Gunn's still in the ring. He's actually still killing it. But look at
Billy Gunn's done his best in-ring work in the last 5 years.
He has.
He really
has.
He's so good.
But look at all the look at the direction that WWE has gone from here. WWE, like Triple H, has been at every step, and I think that that's important because Triple H is now in charge, and he has control, and he has done seemingly a very good job, says the internet. And I don't think anybody in the NWO is anybody still working in the business of professional wrestling still?
Like actively?
Hulk Hogan's not. Scott Hall passed away, R.I.P. Kevin Nash isn't. The $1 Million Man's in jail for church fraud. Virgil passed away, R.I.P. Virgil.
Sting's
out.
Sting's out. He retired, so.
But it was fake Sting that was in there, right?
Well, real Sting was in Wolfpack.
Oh yeah, he was.
He was.
Wasn't
There's Wolfpack scene.
Yeah.
Did you not watch the retirement match, Michael?
Yeah, his son, the tall one. Dude, that was the football player. The tall one was.
Yeah, the tall one was the football player.
I lost it.
No, oh man. Well, our
Okay. No.
do.
Back. Is it working now?
It's working now.
Cool. Sorry. Sometimes the camera shuts off. We're a real professional operation. Anyways, what was it saying? Oh yeah, there's no one in the NWO that's still like the NWO has been relegated to being a cool T-shirt at this point, and that's about it. And if you want to talk about the DX dad rock vibes they had for a while, we can talk about that. But
Let's talk about DX coming back during the worst period of wrestling.
No.
Let's specifically talk about one thing we watched earlier.
What did we watch earlier?
Well, Michael, we watched a WWE segment where Triple H and Shawn Michaels, as their 40-year-old incarnations of DX, deciding to crawl under the ring to the WWE back rooms because they've been sued by Hornswoggle, who at this time can't speak. I'm not sure why. I don't know why. But they take him to Little People's Court. And I'm going to do my best job to keep a straight face during this entire little segment here.
Oh, wow. Little segment. Wow. Cancel him. Little segment. Wow. What an insensitive jerk. What an insensitive jerk. So what was the segment called?
The Little People's Court.
Little People's Court. Little People's
My mic right here.
Yeah, dude. Little People's Court.
The Little People's Court.
It is a court. What's the proper term? Is it little people? Little people seems.
By the way, yes, the
is that correct?
Little person.
That seems disrespectful. What do you say? I'm honest.
Little
question.
person and dwarf, I feel like, are the
dwarf. Is dwarf
dwarfism?
I mean,
listen, there's one word I know they don't like,
and I wouldn't.
But
say
it's like the other ones are. I feel like little person, dwarf are both, because dwarf just sounds cool. It's like.
Well, that also feels like James R. Tolkien stuff. Okay, it says the term is person of short stature, little person, and dwarf. That was from Washington EDU.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna go person of short stature. That seems the most humanizing. I don't know. Anyways, they have the Little People's. It's called Little People's Court. I'll use the proper title for the name of the segment. But there are people of short stature. There's a whole.
By the way, this was. If you need to know, oh man, cool.
Oh, that's deadly. I'm really allergic to cats.
So Triple H also at this point had his gimmick, which was being afraid and or finding the little people funny and disgusting.
Yeah,
that was the gimmick.
Look at it.
That was that's the gimmick. All right, and DX now have blackface
and making fun of people of small stature
and making fun of little people.
That's not good.
And that's
look at that, Sean. I understand. It was okay. First of all, I want to say something.
The physical comedy is unmatched in this scene. The entire idea of there just being a little court around under the ring is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But Triple H's entire gimmick is kind of pretty offensive now.
So for those who haven't seen, they go under the ring and then they're transported into a world. They're actually like backstage, but it's like a full arena under the ring, and they walk into this room and there's a little courtroom set up, and there's a judge, there's a jury, there's a bailiff, as Shawn Michaels is talking to, and he makes fun of him. It's not very nice. Triple H is very mean to Shawn Michaels. He makes fun of the person of short stature here with little hair, and he takes Shawn Michaels was wearing his cowboy hat or something before, and he pulls it off.
Beanie off.
He takes his beanie off. He goes, "It's indistinguishable." And okay, that's the funniest thing. And if that had happened in the NWO, that would have been funny. But the NWO used to bring out like people of short stature dressed as like Bret Hart and stuff. That was like a thing in the 90s.
Was it?
Remember that?
I mean,
WWE did it a handful of times where they would bring in people who of short stature and have them dress as the opponent, and then they would like beat them up.
hey, listen, micro wrestling is a important part of wrestling history and its lexicon. Like, it is, if you've never been to a micro wrestling match or wrestling event, go to one of them. They're fun. They're enjoyable. You'll see a lot of your stars, but they're 3 feet tall.
And they're really good.
And they're really good at wrestling. Like, they can do these crazy flips and stuff because they're so small. They're tiny. And they can hit some athletic stuff. They're so good at it.
Yeah, I'm looking to see. I thought there was some like WCW ones.
There wasn't.
All right, good. Well,
No,
NWO
didn't have too many controversial storylines.
The
NWO storylines were controversial because they were bad, because they were some of the worst booked things. Ooh.
This is where it got to. Like, look at the Giant. He's wearing the Macho Man hat. He's being kind of silly, and that's the thing. Is maybe I'm too harsh on the NWO. They were a little goofy, a little silly. The one thing that I do think they get a lot of heat for was like the finger poke of doom.
On paper,
But I think the finger poke
that's such a good heel thing to do, the finger poke.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it makes sense on paper.
I agree.
And in practice, everyone hates it.
I think if they just like let it go a couple weeks and just kept it up, and people would have been like, yo, the finger poke of doom was so Kevin Nash could duck Goldberg. We could keep the title on
All
Hulk
I'm saying
Hogan.
is if the Young Bucks or someone did something like that today,
it'd be money.
it would, like, the internet crowd would go insane over it. But they laid down. Or like how literally we actually had something similar happen with Hangman. With Hangman tapping.
Oh yeah, Hangman
tapping
Hangman
to keep Swerve from winning the championship
because
he screwed Swerve out of the championship when he didn't need to.
You're right.
He intentionally lost the match to keep the championship out of another person's hands.
Sounds like
people loved it.
Sounds like you're describing a story. The internet would disagree with you about AEW having stories. What are you talking about? That's a storyline. That didn't happen on AEW. No, I mean it's a good point, and I think the finger poke of doom gets a lot of heat because because Nash was ducking Goldberg. Yeah, people got worked, and that's what they don't like. People don't like when
people want it to feel real, and then when it actually feels real,
they get
and
mad.
someone's gotten one over on you, you get upset about it.
Yeah. All right, we are almost at an hour here. Final points that you want to make about DX or the NWO? The floor is yours.
So if we look at both of these groups, I think let's start on one thing that we can agree with.
Okay.
Regardless of who's better between the two groups, there's one group among these two that wins totally and completely, and that's the Clique.
Yeah. I mean,
it's all four of the guys.
For those who don't know.
all four. It is Shawn Michaels, it's Scott Hall, it's Kevin Nash, and it's Triple H. All four of those guys are the heads of these factions effectively.
Right.
That group has...
Hey now, the Clique also included X-Pac. He was just like...
That's right.
They traded him.
And they just traded him back and forth.
Can we talk about him for a second? They traded him back like a divorced parent on the weekend.
Did. They were like, okay, X-Pac's 3-week contract's up. You're going back to WWE.
You gotta go stay with Dad this weekend.
Hey, you gotta go stay with Trips. All right,
dude. Yeah,
I'll see you later.
Yeah. Could you imagine, like?
But that I think regardless of
whose side? Okay, so these two factions also came to a head at a WrestleMania, and don't forget who won: Degeneration X, because Triple H was the booker, and
Yeah,
we
and they
have to
also
bury
buried
WCW.
Sting.
We have to bury WCW at every single
Yeah,
aspect.
no, like when you really think about it, like him beating Sting was the final WCW burial. That was the last.
It was. They got
That
them
was
all.
the last person that never wrestled in the company, and they were like, "We're gonna have you lose
So
in a 20 minutes match against Triple H."
God. Okay, I will say that's not very nice of Triple H. Triple H has done a lot of not nice things, but
That Jeff Jarrett picture. Ooh
Which Jeff-
wee.
oh, buddy, this one here.
Oh, bud.
yeah,
Oh,
hold on,
man.
everybody, you got to see this.
That's a good picture, though.
You know what? This is WCW 2000.
That's a good.
This is WCW 2000 right here.
Listen, there is a world where WCW lived and actually became the coolest shit ever.
Dude, this picture. Look at all of these carny sons of bitches in here, dude.
It's so bad.
Kevin Nash, Jeff Jarrett, Scott Steiner is there to yell things and be hilarious, and Bret Hart is there to absolutely put on bangers. Like, dude, I'm sorry, this is a perfect faction.
It really is.
This
It's
is a
beautiful, dude. Like, if this was a faction by any other name, and this is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Is throughout wrestling, the NWO is more influential. Because if we want to realistically look at both of them, DX is influential within WWE. They changed the landscape. They were a super popular group in the Attitude Era, but they were really popular in WWE and WWF. They inspired a lot of wrestlers in the company, and they inspired a lot of future wrestlers coming in. But if you look at the NWO, the fingerprints of that faction are everywhere. They are in New Japan Wrestling with the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
They are in TNA with the Main Event Mafia, which was literally just a rehash of OG NWO members. Like, the NWO didn't even really die off. It just kind of went to other places.
Yeah.
It became so big and there were so many members. It's like the ship of Theseus, right? Like, you can replace all the boards. Is it still the same ship? Is it still the same group?
Yeah.
Maybe, but you can look at the fingerprints and the way that the group interacted and the way that the faction was ran. For probably the better part of a decade, New Japan Pro Wrestling's most popular faction is a foreign heel faction that is literally just the NW. It's an invasion angle NWO faction.
Like, shout out invasion angles. Like,
they're
this is
good.
the best.
Invasion angles are great.
They're great. Even when
TNA is probably the coolest thing TNA and NXT have done in a while.
Yeah, this was like obviously the NWO coming back in the whole what was it? What did they call it? The invasion, WCW, ECW invasion, WWE.
Yeah.
Not God, what I think that's probably top 10 worst fumbles in WWE history. Like, you should have been. We should still be feeding families off that.
They
off
could
that
have
alone.
I'm of the personal opinion that WWE should have never stopped the ECW brand and had just an extreme wrestling show that catered to hardcore audiences,
Nerds, and then now
like the nerds, like the AEW nerd,
Yeah.
like a lot of the
Now-
the internet crowd. Like they could have kept ECW going.
For sure.
It would not have cost them a lot of money, and they would have just had. You would have kept people happy and not complaining about your main product.
Yeah, but much like NWO, they took it out behind the barn. And that's where NWO,
like Lassie.
NWO has been reduced to a T-shirt, and that's a T-shirt and a meme at this point. And I understand at the time they were super popular, super important to pro wrestling. But let's be honest, the NWO is a video package nowadays. DX is running.
Still also a video package.
DX is running the biggest wrestling.
Because one of them's married to Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, but look, these two guys started against. You want to like make
he did the ultimate politic move. He married the boss's daughter,
and then he runs the show now.
And then his
Hulk
boss
Hogan
just happened to be a terrible, awful person.
Hey, they did give some members of the NWO a show to run, and it was 2005 like TNA or 2008 9, 10 TNA.
Yeah, that's main event mafia. It wasn't a good time.
I remember when they let Bischoff and Hogan run that, and they almost killed TNA as well. Yeah,
Ooh.
dude, it's a bad.
Oof.
The NWO.
That's a Hogan
The
move.
NWO made, and who's a member of the NWO, right? Look, I'll say this: the NWO is very influential for their time. What they did was incredible and important to pro wrestling.
For their time, I just explained how they had their hands in everything on stuff happening 30 years later, 20 years later.
But you're just like saying that, oh, it's an invasion angle filled with people.
It's not just an invasion angle. It's specifically an invasion angle that is set up with the same aesthetic.
You were gonna say foreign people, then you realize, oh yeah, Scott Hall's not really Cuban. No, it's funny because I understand what you're saying, right? But if we're honest, it's just an invasion storyline. Why does that?
It's the same aesthetic. It's the same. You can see the spirit. It's literally like a spiritual successor type thing.
Yeah.
You can trace the direct line of it from NWO to Bullet Club.
Okay, right now, given the fact of who's still around and alive, and just if these two factions showed up on television right now, who would you be more excited to see? Would you rather see Shawn and Hunter get out there for one more match, or would you rather see Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash go out there?
I'd rather see Shawn and Triple H.
Bingo.
You know why? Because they're 20 years younger and can still kind of move around.
Are they? What's the age difference? Do you know the age difference between? Now you're just saying. See, you just talk out of your ass.
I'm
sometimes.
almost certain.
You just talk out of your ass sometimes.
Hogan's almost 70, dude.
Yeah, well, that's Hulk Hogan. You picked the oldest one. All right, Triple H is 54.
Yeah.
What's Kevin Nash? That didn't spell Nash right. Kevin Nash.
64.
And Triple H was 54?
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were 10 years apart.
All right, now look up how old Hogan is.
He's old as hell, dude.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is they're both 10 to 20 years younger.
Okay, fair enough. In their prime, who would you rather see?
Nash and Hogan.
Really?
If I'd say
Hulk's
no, it'd honestly be Nash and
yeah,
Nash and Michaels.
You think so?
If I'm being real honest.
Yeah, hold on.
Those are the two best wrestlers out of the four.
Yeah, I think it's Frozen, but it worked. It worked the other day.
Yeah. Also, I feel like just Shawn Michaels can have a banger match with anyone in existence. Like he's just good.
Yeah, he is. He is really good. All right. Well, let's get to it. Let's see who's the winner here in the final section.
Winner, chicken dinner.
All right, I'm pulling up. If you're not following us on TikTok, that's where we put the
What's his age?
Hulk Hogan's 70.
Exactly.
70. All right, so if you're not following us on TikTok, that's where we put the polls up
That age
each
doesn't work
week.
for me, brother.
It doesn't work for me, brother. All right, so let's go to the polls here.
I told Death that
Here we go.
Don't work for me, brother.
And with 58% to 42%, DX is your winner. How's it feel to be wrong again?
How's it feel to vote for blackface?
Dude, you're going to talk about that, but your literal linchpin of the whole thing is Hulk Hogan. Do not talk to me about that, dude. Hulk Hogan looked at that segment and he was like, I would not let DX date any of my daughters. Get out of here, dude. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And I made that argument earlier.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting on the whole time. I was like, this dumb argument is they did blackface. It's bad. You have Hulk Hogan. It's worse, you know? All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching this and everything.
He's 70.
He's 70. He's of that age. All right,
of
Grandpa,
age.
get back to the home. All right. For those who are still here watching us, thank you so much for watching this and everything at Suplex Media. While you're here, throw us a like. If you made it this far, I think you're legally obligated to throw us a like, throw us a subscribe as well. Look forward to bringing you a new debate. Try and bring you some every week if we can. And don't forget, DX is better than NWO, and pro wrestling is predetermined.
Better than these nuts.
I'm doing the catchphrase. Let me do my catch. Hey, you lost. That doesn't work for me, brother. Keep it quiet.
I want to recount.
You want
to like Florida? I demand a recount.
All right, here we go. Recount. You still lost. Yeah, dude. So many people voted.
I'm gonna go vote on my bots.
Thank you all. Yeah. You should have had the Russian bot farm. But once again, DX is better than the NWO, and that's just a fact. Just like pro wrestling is predetermined, your life isn't. Go do something great today. We'll see you next time.